A cold night 100,000 years ago. You crouch behind a rock listening to the dark. Somewhere out there, eyes are watching you, and you have nothing to push them back. No warmth, no light, just breath and fear in the black. Now flick a lighter. A flame appears in a second, and you barely notice. But that flame is the single most important thing your species ever tamed. So how did the first humans ever make it? The story is stranger than you'd think. Start with a truth most people get backwards. Humans didn't invent fire. Fire was always here. Lightning struck dry grass long before any human walked the earth. Volcanoes spatted. Wildfires swept whole plains. Fire was a wild animal nobody could hold. So the first step wasn't making fire. It was daring to walk toward it. Picture your ancestor after a wildfire. The plain is black, smoking, quiet. And scattered everywhere, cooked meat, animals that couldn't outrun the flames. Free food already softened, already warm. The fire had done the work. That easy meal may have quietly rewired everything about you. Primatologist Richard Wrangham of Harvard calls this idea cooking made us human. Cooked food releases more energy for less chewing. Your gut could shrink. And the energy saved, it fed a bigger, hungrier brain. But here's a problem. Finding fire is luck, keeping it is survival. A wildfire only comes once in a while. You can't wait years for lightning. So the first real skill wasn't making fire, it was babysitting it. Imagine one person whose only job is guarding the coals, day and night. They carry the embers in a shell, wrapped in bark, feeding them slowly. Let it die, and the whole group falls back into the cold dark. At Israel's Gesher Benot Ya'aqov site, scientists found controlled fire from 790,000 years ago. Burnt seeds and stone in one spot, again and again, a hearth kept alive. That's a story of borrowing fire from nature, not creating it yet. So when did someone finally learn to summon flame from nothing? The answer came from a simple, painful observation. Rocks get hot when you hit them. Someone napping stone tools noticed sparks jump when the right rocks clash. Strike flint against iron pyrite, fool's gold, and you get a spark hot enough to catch. But a spark isn't fire. A spark dies in half a second. You need something dry and hungry to catch it, tinder. Dry moss, shredded bark, fluffed seed down. The finer, the better. You drop the spark into the nest, then breathe, softly, steadily. A thread of smoke, a red glow, then a flame you built with your own hands. There's a second way, older in feel and pure muscle, friction. Spin a wooden spindle fast against a wooden board. Wood grinding wood makes heat. The friction sheds tiny dark dust. That dust smolders into a glowing coal. It's brutal work. Your palms burn, your shoulders scream, and often nothing catches. This is why firemaking was never casual. It was skill, patience, and knowing your materials. Now step into the payoff. Night falls, but you are no longer helpless. The flame throws a ring of light. The watching eyes retreat. For the first time, the night belongs a little to you. And something new happens around that fire. People stop working and start talking. Anthropologist Polly Wiesner studied the Jew/Honsi people of the Kalahari for decades. She found daytime talk was about tasks, but firelight talk turned into stories. Myths, distant relatives, the spirit world, imagination born in the glow of flame. So fire didn't just cook your food, it may have kindled your culture. Here's the twist. That precious flame also made you dangerously dependent. Fire kept the predators out, but it also chained you to the hearth. Lose your skill, lose your embers, and your whole group could freeze or scatter. So fire wasn't only power, it was a responsibility you couldn't drop. Even today you feel its pull, a candle, a stove, a bonfire on a beach. You still gather around flames to talk, the instinct never left. That lighter in your pocket, it's an ancient miracle shrunk to a thumb flick. What took your ancestors' sweat, skill, and nerve now costs you nothing. So the first fire was never really invented. It was chased, guarded, and finally understood. From stealing embers off a burnt plain to spinning flame from a stick. Go back to that cold night, crouched behind the rock listening to the dark. This time you strike a spark, and the dark for the first time blinks first.